And hello there, and welcome to the Tom Retro Chronicle, episode 35 of this second season of the Tom Retro Chronicle. Yes, I know, it's a short season. I know, I get it. And welcome. I am taping this on a very quiet, cool Tuesday evening. It's almost about quarter to 11 p.m. here in Fargo, North Dakota. Hope you all are enjoying your Tuesday and hope you all enjoyed your weekend. And pretty much most of the things that I'm going to be talking about in this episode of the podcast is pretty much talking about the recent game against the Portuguese with the United States against Portugal, and that game that took place on Sunday. Very interesting game, if you pretty much ask me. Then pretty much we'll talk about a little bit about the Luis Suarez biting incident, his third one since 2010, and pretty much my take on that. Pretty much that incident with that player, and then we'll talk about a little bit of some Major League Baseball scores that are currently going on right now as we speak. Quite a few finals going on right now, but there are still quite a few games currently going on still as we speak. So, alright, so let's begin the podcast with the pretty much the current news going on right now concerning the United States national football team, or soccer team, if you prefer to call that soccer. But so essentially, when I flipped onto the game against Portugal, I didn't really think much on the success of the U.S. I didn't think that they would quite possibly win this game as far as I thought they would. Pretty much a tie was not really something that I was thinking that the U.S. would accomplish, but they somehow proved me otherwise, and pretty much in the first 5 minutes, pretty much it was pretty much all Portugal, and pretty much them dominating the ball, and that pretty much culminated in Nane, the forward for the Portuguese, scoring the first goal in the first 5 minutes in the 5th minute mark of the game. And essentially, it was a very poor defensive start for the U.S., and certainly definitely a poor start for Tim Howard, the goalie for the U.S. And pretty much after the 5th minute, towards pretty much halftime, it was pretty much the U.S. trying to hang on to itself, pretty much trying to keep the Portuguese out of its own offensive zone. And essentially, pretty much it was a very interesting first half. And pretty much once that 5th minute pretty much happened, that goal, pretty much I thought it was going to be a blowout. Pretty much when you have a team like with the likes of Nane and Cristiano Ronaldo, pretty much you gotta feel that you kind of have, you pretty much kind of feel that you have that game in place. And especially when you have pretty much one forward player like Clint Dempsey playing for you, and no Josie Altidore playing for you as well. It can be pretty much a rough go-around. for you, especially like a player like Josie Altidore, um, who can pretty much change your whole lineup around. So, and I thought it was a blowout on Facebook. I thought it was a blowout going to be on Twitter, and I thought it was going to be a blowout when I texted a friend of mine. Very interesting. So, and it was actually very interesting. The 40th minute, they pretty much made a stop to have water break. And that was pretty much like the first time that rule was pretty much implemented, because according to the commentators, it was a pretty humid day. It was pretty much a humid day out there in Brazil, I believe, and pretty much it was pretty much self-explanatory. I mean, pretty much when you have a climate that is very humid, very I mean, pretty much when you think about the Amazon rainforest is there, pretty much bugs are out there as well, so you kind of have to watch out for yourself there. So so it was a very interesting time. So pretty much after halftime, pretty much the U.S. kind of got itself a little bit more of a mental advantage. I mean, pretty much they thought, I thought probably that, hey, okay, pretty much we got these guys pretty much the top number fourth, the fourth team in FIFA's world rankings. The Portuguese are number 4 for some reason. So, in the 64th minute, Jermaine Jones, who was a midfielder, scores the equalizer, bringing the game to 1-1. It was very interesting goal. So, and then I pretty much texted back and forth that, okay, this is probably going to be a tie, or pretty much, it was pretty much a back and forth game. I mean, pretty much somehow or another, those two teams were kind of, well, let's just say that they were pretty much evenly matched. I mean, outside of experience, pretty much, of course, but, and then pretty much in the 81st minute, Clint Dempsey probably scored the biggest goal of his life at that point. I mean, that was a very beautiful goal by Clint Dempsey, don't get me wrong. And pretty much that put the game at 2-1, and pretty much all the U.S. had to really do was pretty much try to hold off Portugal for 9 minutes of regulation time, and then 5 minutes of stoppage time. And a lot of people on Twitter were pretty much calling out the referees for saying that the amount of minutes were too much, and you should have thought better to give us just 4 minutes of stoppage time. Just doesn't really work that way. Essentially, stoppage time is basically, it basically pretty much makes sense of itself. You know, pretty much it's time for the stoppage of getting substitute players in for injuries, for out of bounds plays, for offside plays and stuff. So it could be interesting. So very interesting. So there we go, and pretty much somehow or another, and pretty much in the 95th minute of, in the 90 minute plus 5 minute Pretty much Silvestri Varela scores on a header, or I believe it might have been a bodier. It might have been hit off of his body and onto a goal. Essentially, it was a volley from Cristiano Ronaldo, and somehow or another, I thought, oh boy, oh boy, don't do this to us now. Don't do this to us. Don't do this to us right now. And then pretty much when Ronaldo hit that to Varela, and yeah, that was rough to that was tough to hard. That was tough to swallow. But we're not out of it yet. At least not right now. And pretty much essentially um, we're looking at a very interesting and good German team. And we essentially need to get a tie or win to pretty much advance to the knockout stage and advance out of group stage. So essentially, pretty much right now the standings are: Germany is at 4 points, the US is at 4 points, and Ghana and Portugal are at 1 point to their own. So do I essentially think that the US will advance out of the World Cup stage? The game against Germany pretty much made me believe that, yeah, it could be possible to get a tie against a very good team like Germany or Portugal. So essentially, I believe in them. I believe in the U.S. So anyway, let's talk about the news going on right now today, as the Luis Suarez biting incident that pretty much happened earlier today against a match against Italy. And I believe this was his third biting of an opponent in competition since 2010. His first incident was, let's see, trying to remember. It was back when he was playing for Ajax, a Netherlands club team. I believe it might have been a UEFA game. Very interesting time. And then his second incident was back in 2013 when he was a member for Liverpool against Chelsea. And then the third incident was today against Italy. And pretty much my take on it is that he needs help. He needs either anger management or therapy, or he just needs to stay away from people for a while. And I think he needs to get at least a 6-month ban from competition. But yeah, essentially, pretty much most of the punishment that he's gotten was at least like 6 match ban, a 10 match ban, and it's just not really enough. I mean, I'm hoping for a 6-month ban from competition. And as much as it pains me to say that as a Liverpool fan, it has to stop. He is just that way too good of a player for us to let go of. And I hope he stays with Liverpool. I mean, he's a really, really good player. but he's got to control his appetite to bite people. Because this isn't going away anytime soon, and he has to stop this like right now. So essentially, there's that. Um, he has a wife. He has a daughter and a son. And what kind of example is he setting himself for his wife and his children, and possibly the other kids that have a Luis Suarez poster posted all over in their children's bedroom walls, idolizing him. And yeah, it's pretty rough. Pretty rough for Luis, but he needs her. He needs help, because he's got potential to become one of the greatest players in this current century, and that's really saying a lot. Because Beckham, Gerard, Zidane, and stuff. So so he needs help. So that is pretty much that. On a lighter note, let's talk a little bit about some baseball that is going on right now. The games that I'm gonna talk about are currently final. The Chicago White Sox beat the Baltimore Orioles 4-2. Quintana gets his 4th win of the season, currently with an ERA at 3.69. Gordon Beckham gets his 7th home run for the White Sox. The Miami Marlins lose 4-7 against the Philadelphia Phillies. Jonathan Papelbon gets his 18th save of the season, and the New York Yankees fall into the Toronto Blue Jays 7-6 in extra innings. I believe that game was in the bottom of the 9th. And in a rare offensive showing, the New York Mets beat the Oakland Athletics 10-1. Scott Kazmir gets his 3rd loss of the season with a ERA at 2.66. Curtis Granderson gets his 10th home run of the season. And the Pittsburgh Pirates beat the Tampa Bay Rays 6-5. Evan Longoria gets his 10th home run of the season. And the Chicago Cubs get their 32nd win of the season, defeating the Cincinnati Reds 7-3. And Rizzo gets his 17th home run for the Cubs. The Detroit Tigers beat the Texas Rangers 8-2. And Kinsler gets his 9th home run of the season. And that game was in Arlington Stadium, where Ian Kinsler played quite a bit of his professional baseball at Texas. The Atlanta Braves beat the Houston Astros 3-2. Kimbrel gets his 22nd save of the season. B.J. Upton gets a 7th home run of the season. And Justin Upton gets his 15th home run of the season. And in a very low-scoring game, the Los Angeles Dodgers beat the Kansas City Royals 2-0. Clayton Kershaw gets his 8th win of the season. For those who don't remember, Kershaw's last start was against the Colorado Rockies. and where he pretty much got a no-hitter after striking out 15 batters in a row. He was pretty much one error short of a perfect game. And some games that are currently going on right now. The top of the 12th inning, Nationals are playing at Milwaukee, and that game is currently tied at 2-2. Seeing the top of the 8th, the Colorado Rockies are up by 3 runs against the St. Louis Cardinals, 8-5. In Arizona, the Diamondbacks are up by 1 run against the Cleveland Indians, 6-5. In the top of the 6th, the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim are up by 1 run against the Minnesota Twins, 7-6. And the Boston Red Sox are down by 1 run against the Seattle Mariners. Currently, the Mariners have runners on the first and third with 1 out. So hopefully Jake Peavy can strike out the side and reduce the damage that's currently going on right now. Hopefully the Red Sox can get a win in this one, hopefully. And currently in the bottom of the 6th, the San Diego Padres are up by 6-1 against the San Francisco Giants. Wow. And a very good offensive showing by the Padres. And that's currently games that are currently going on right now as we speak in the MLB. I'm probably going to do another episode sometime on Thursday. So hopefully you all will listen to that as well as listen to this and the other episodes as well. So I'm going to probably sign out. I will probably catch you all sometime on Thursday. Later, folks. Peace.